The dust was still settling when the cowboy saw her. She lay half in the ditch, half on the gravel shoulder, her dark hair tangled with blood and dirt, one arm bent at an unnatural angle as if it had simply given up. The road stretched empty in both directions, the kind of lonely Texas road where secrets disappeared as easily as footprints. The sun was dropping low, turning the sky the color of rusted copper, and if he hadn't been late bringing fence wire back to the ranch, he would have ridden right past her like so many others probably had. But something made him pull the reins. He dismounted slowly, heart tightening as he knelt beside her. She was breathing, shallow, uneven, but she was alive. Her face was swollen, one eye nearly closed, her lip split. Old bruises mixed with fresh ones, a story written in purple and yellow across her skin. This wasn't an accident. Cowboys knew the difference between a fall and a beating. "Hey," he murmured, his voice rough from years of dust and silence. "You hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered, and for a second he thought she might scream. Instead, a broken sound escaped her throat, something between a sob and a plea. Her fingers twitched as if reaching for something that wasn't there. That was all it took. Ethan Cole shrugged off his coat and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. He had no wife, no children, and a house that echoed more than it spoke, but he had a horse, a steady pair of arms, and a rule his father taught him long ago: you don't leave people to die alone. He lifted her carefully, feeling how light she was, too light, like someone whose spirit had been worn down long before her body was. She whimpered when he settled her in front of him on the saddle, her head resting against his chest. He tightened his grip, not caring how it looked, and turned his horse toward home. The ranch lights glowed faintly by the time he arrived, the familiar creak of the gate sounding louder than usual in the quiet night. Ethan carried her inside, laid her on the old couch by the fireplace, and set to work the only way he knew, slowly, gently, with patience learned from broken horses and hard winters. He cleaned her wounds with warm water, his jaw clenched as he uncovered more bruises along her ribs and back. Whoever had done this had meant to break her. When she stirred, panic flashed across her face, her body tensing as if expecting another blow. "No one's gonna hurt you here," he said firmly, meeting her eyes so she could see he meant it. "You're safe." She stared at him for a long moment, searching for something, truth, maybe, or danger. Then her strength gave out, and she fell back into a restless sleep. Her name, he would later learn, was Lily. The next few days passed in a quiet rhythm. Ethan slept in a chair nearby, waking at every sound. Lily drifted in and out of consciousness, sometimes crying softly, sometimes gasping as if trapped in a memory she couldn't escape. When she finally woke fully, it was morning, sunlight spilling through the window and warming her face. She tried to sit up and failed. Panic rose again, sharp and sudden. "Please," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "I didn't, I won't, I swear." Ethan was at her side in an instant. "Easy. You're hurt. You don't owe me anything." Her eyes filled with tears, and she turned her face away, ashamed. "Why am I here?" "Because I found you," he answered simply. "And because leaving you there wasn't an option." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't awkward, it was heavy, full of things neither knew how to say. Finally, Lily asked the question he knew was coming. "You gonna take me back?" Ethan frowned. "Back where?" Her shoulders shook. To him, something cold settled in Ethan's chest. "No," he said, more forcefully than he intended. Then he softened his tone. "No one owns you. You're staying as long as you need." She looked at him then, really looked at him. Not like a frightened animal, but like someone seeing hope for the first time and not knowing whether to trust it. "People don't do things for free," she said quietly. "Sometimes they do," he replied. "Especially when it's the right thing." Healing wasn't quick. Lily's body mended faster than her spirit. She startled at loud noises, flinched when Ethan moved too suddenly, and slept curled into herself like she was trying to disappear. But Ethan never rushed her. He spoke before approaching, kept his distance when she needed it, and treated her not like something broken, but like someone worthy of care. Days turned into weeks. Lily began helping around the ranch in small ways, folding laundry, feeding the chickens, sitting on the porch in the evenings with a mug of coffee she barely drank. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just shared the quiet. Ethan told her about his late wife, how illness had taken her years ago, leaving behind a house full of memories and a man who forgot how to hope. Lily listened, understanding grief in her own way. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, Lily finally told her story. About the man who promised love and delivered control. About the first slap, followed by apologies, then isolation, then fists. About how she ran, and how he caught her. I thought if I stayed quiet, she said, tears streaming down her face, I'd survive. Ethan's voice was steady, but his eyes burned. Surviving isn't the same as living. The past didn't let go easily. One afternoon, a truck pulled up near the fence line, dust kicking up like a warning. Lily froze, her face draining of color. It's him, she whispered. Ethan didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Lily and the road. The man shouted, demanded, threatened. Ethan listened, calm and unmoving, until he spoke. You step 1 foot onto my land, Ethan said evenly, and you won't like how this ends. There was something in his voice, quiet, unshakable, that made the man hesitate. After a tense moment, the truck reversed and disappeared down the road. Lily collapsed into tears, shaking with relief and fear. He'll come back, she sobbed. Ethan placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Then we'll be ready. And they were. With the help of the sheriff, with evidence Lily finally found the courage to give, the past loosened its grip. Restraining orders were signed. Justice, slow but real, began to move. As the seasons changed, so did Lily. She stood taller, laughed more freely. The fear in her eyes faded, replaced by something stronger. One morning, she looked out over the fields, sunlight dancing in her hair, and smiled. I forgot what it felt like to breathe, she said. Ethan watched her, his heart fuller than it had been in years. He realized something then, that saving someone didn't always look like grand gestures. Sometimes it looked like stopping on a dusty road. Like offering a couch, a meal, a safe place to sleep. Like believing in someone until they could believe in themselves again. Lily eventually chose to leave, not because she had to, but because she was ready. On her last day, she hugged Ethan tightly. You didn't just save my life, she said. You reminded me it was worth living. Ethan watched her walk down the path toward a future she chose for herself. The ranch felt quiet again, but not empty. Because some roads don't just lead away. Sometimes, they led you home.